Hey guys, Romeo Hertz here today to give you another chapter review of One Piece. One Piece chapter 718 review, 718. And I'm so glad that I waited for a better scan, because the scans I read, the quality was bad, but it was more the order in which people uploaded it up. The order was all wrong, and I just knew it's like, this is way too chaotic. The order's all wrong. I'm seeing scenes in wrong places. It's just, the pacing is all wrong, the flow is all wrong. Here, all that's rectified. There's no problems with this chapter, structurally speaking. And this chapter is called The Imperial Riku Forces of the Flower Fields. So we start off with Robin and Usopp, and they're with the dwarves in the Tontata Kingdom, and they're at the airport. And it's kind of this weird, it is an airport, but it's, they use insects, special insects, to help them pretty much travel. And basically what Leo's saying is that they've got a passage that leads from underneath Dressrosa that will head straight to Greenbit, or vice versa, an entrance that goes beyond underneath Greenbit and leads straight to Dressrosa. I think it leads straight to the flower fields. And then Leo meets up with Kabu and Bian, and Kabu is another dwarf, but he's eating a devil fruit, and he's eating the bug fruit model beetle, and Bian has eaten the bug fruit model B. I'm not sure what this means. I mean, we haven't really seen them fighting, so we don't know how these dwarves are going to, what role they're going to play, but they are very powerful from what our character says later on. Robin and Usopp, because of their size, can't obviously travel on the bugs, but they can travel. Oh, and just to say that Usopp, referencing back to his time during the time skip in this kind of bug animal like kingdom, he's looking at one of the bugs, the I think it's a beetle, and he says he's never seen this type before. So it's really interesting to see that he's still, this is what Usopp would do if he had come back from the time skip. He would recognize wildlife, he would recognize this environment, and I know a lot of us were getting confused why he was so scared of Greenbit, when really this should be his kind of place to be. So it was really good to see that. Anyway, Robin and Usopp get on these foxes, linear foxes they're called, or the Con Express, and apparently they're very, very fast. They're very good at traveling. Robin says they've got really beautiful fur, and then they all just head out. Oh, and the reason they're on the foxes is because of their size, and these foxes usually hold about 20 dwarves at a time, but they're being lent out for Robin and Usopp. And Usopp hears a voice, and he sees Guncho, and Guncho is in between Robin's breasts. How she didn't even notice, you got me, but she didn't notice. And he pretty much says that the conflict between the Don Quixote family and the dwarves, the Tontata tribe, didn't start a decade ago. You know, it started over 900 years ago, which brings up a lot of theories about the Tenryubito, the Void Century. You know, Don Quixote being having some form of connection to the Tenryubito. I don't know. Maybe this is like a territory. Maybe this is like Dressrosa is like a territory for the Tenryubito, or a special place for the Tenryubito, and because he has connections with the Tenryubito, he's allowed to get away with certain things. I'm not sure. It's still pretty vague. Anyway, we head over to the Flower Hill, or the Flower Fields, and this is and underneath the Flower Fields is a secret passage which leads down to their headquarters, the anti-Doflamingo group, or Imperial Riku Force headquarters. And this is pretty much the place where the soldier and any well, I'm not sure. I haven't, apart from the dwarves, I haven't seen any of the toys now that I think about it. But the soldier appears with. He seems to be the leader of this entire thing, and he appears with Frankie. And the dwarves are wondering what kind of human he was before, because he looks like a toy, because he's mechanical in his appearance. And Frankie, who hasn't even seen dwarves before, you've got to remember, he's heard of fairies, but he doesn't know what a dwarf is. So he calls them little people, but then he recognizes, oh, these are the dwarves. Oh, so these are your warriors. And the soldier says, in terms of physical strength, that they wouldn't lose to the likes of you, which, you know, considering he's come back from the time skip, considering how mechanical he is, that means a lot. And we already know they're very agile. We already know they're very, 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 very fast. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the Don Quixote family, but I don't think things are going to go the way they're going. But anyway, we move over and we see that Zoro is actually already there, and he's watching the fight in the arena with Luffy and Don Chinchao, and he's kind of commentating. He said you should have zigged instead of zagged. Obviously, you know which translation I'm going from if you see the same thing. But basically, he's just a viewer. He's watching the show, even though really he should be getting back to the ship, which is in trouble. And the dwarf that was with him is saying the same thing. You know, you should get back there. And he links up with Frankie. And basically, the dwarves say that there's other people, there's other legendary heroes. There's besides Uso Land and Robin Land, there's Luffy Land, Zoro Land, Nami Land, San Land, Chopper Land, Fran Land, and Bone Land. And Frankie and Usopp recognize that it has to be Frankie and Usopp. Frankie and Zoro recognize that it has to be Usopp, and Zoro even remarks that Usopp's lying has gone up another level after the time skip. So that was very interesting to see. But then Zoro remembers, oh shit, I have to get back to the ship. And then, due to the pacing and the flow of the chapter, we go back to the ship. Now this is interesting. This is an interesting scene. Not interesting, but it gives us. I don't think it's interesting, and it's not interesting in terms of it gives you certain information about Juro. And Nami says she's been turned into a toy. This isn't actually true. Juro says that there is an ability user to turn people into toys. I don't do that. I turn people into art. I'm the arty no me. I'm an art human, which is interesting. So have we seen this character who can turn people into soldiers? I think, if you remember, and if you've watched the anime, you would have just seen this. If you remember, when we look back at Dressrosa during Don Quixote's talk with Virgo, there's this guy who's dressed up in these kind of gears and metal pieces. He's got a mask on, he's got this hat on, and he pulls out a gun and he shoots Baby Five just before she tries to attack Don Quixote again. I think this guy is the guy who turns people into toys. I'm not sure, but it seems that he would come under this kind of theme of mechanics and toys, so I think he would be the ability user to do that. Yeah, so anyway, Brooke and Chopper get a call. Somehow, by the way, they've managed to take out the submarine that the Don Quixote family members sent out, which is interesting considering their state they're in. But they get a call, and it's from Law, and over the call, they it's obvious he's getting thrashed in some way. There's a lot of explosions. There's a lot of crackling over the line. They're asking for help because they're in trouble. And pretty much Law says, bring the boat to Greenbit immediately. I'm gonna hand Caesar over to you guys. Which is a problem for them because they're not in a state to do that. But I don't know. I mean, I think they're gonna work it out. Jorah doesn't seem. I'm not sure how she seems as a combatant, and I'm not sure with the debilitations that have been inflicted upon Brooke, Chopper, and Nami. I'm not sure if they'll be able to get there, but we'll see. It's One Piece, I have confidence in their abilities, though I do think this is going in a certain direction. Anyway, Don Quixote pretty much reveals his plans to Law about, how he made a certain bait for Luffy to distract him from their main goal, and that even if Luffy does win, he's not going to be leaving there in one piece. He won't come out at a state where he will be able to help you. It's just not going to happen. And he says your alliance is done for. You're fucked. Which, I'm still not sure how this fight's going out. It seems Don Quixote. I don't know. So we jump over back to the kind of the Colosseum, and Sanji. We look at Sanji and Kinemon, and they're having their fight. Not their fight. They're watching the fight of Don Jinchao versus Luffy, and it goes back over to the Colosseum, and we see Burgess walk out. And Cavendish and Bartolomeo recognize his presence, and obviously Burgess doesn't know who Luffy is because he's going as Luffy. He's still got his moustache, he's got his helmet on, and Luffy says Luffy starts to use his new ability, and he says Gomu no, and I think that's a big hint to all the to the audience, the people watching, that hang on, there's only one person who uses the Gomu no Mi, and that's Monkey D. Luffy. And Luffy uses his Hawk rifle, and this affects Don Jinchao. It really hurts him, even though Don Jinchao is using armaments hockey. He's using the hardening ability, and even though he's using it, it still bypasses Don Jinchao. So it's really interesting to see that. As to where I think this is going in terms of Law and Don Quixote, if you remember, Law gave Law's crew is at Zou. Law gave Nami a Vive card that will lead them to Zou in case anything happens. I don't think, considering the Don Quixote family has been fighting the Tontata tribe for over 900 years, I don't think they have enough to defeat the Don Quixote family. I think Doflamingo isn't going to lose, or not initially. I think the plan is going to fail to some. I think it's going to work and fail at certain levels. I'm not sure about Law. I think Law might be captured, mainly because of the option to go to Zou. I think they might get Caesar Clown, and I think they might head to Zou to get Law's crew members and bring them back to Dressrosa to help him to either save Law. I think Law might get captured and taken. I mean, you got to remember, Don Quixote was raising Law for a purpose. I don't know what this purpose is. How Law might be turned into a toy, for all we know. I really think that they might be able to destroy the factory, but I don't think Law is going to come away from it unscathed. I think there's going to be a bit more to it. I think it's going to fail and it's going to succeed at certain levels. So anyway, this was my One Piece chapter review. Again, I'm glad I held out for a better scanlation because it was so much better. In fact, I kind of want to redo my Naruto chapter review, but nah, I don't think I need to now that I think about it. But yeah, what do I think? I think I'm not sure what's going to happen next chapter. I'm not sure what's going to happen next chapter at all. I feel like we might go back to the Luffy versus Don Shinchao fight, but I'm not sure. I think it's going to be half Don Shinchao. Because at this point, I think we're at a stage where it's time to hear about what the hell it is up with the Don Quixote family and Doflamingo himself. I think we need a lot of answers, and I think these next 2 weeks it's going to be about that. We might get some fighting with Luffy and Don Shinchao in between, but I think it would be nice to see the fights. I'm not sure what's going on with Fujitora. I think Fujitora left it because Don Quixote is still a Shibukai. Law isn't. So, in terms of the duties of a Shibukai, he's meant to stop other people from becoming pirates or take out other pirates. So, Don Quixote is doing his duty as a Shibukai to take out Law. So I don't see. So Fujitora doesn't really need to get involved anymore. Yeah, and since Law's he's not a Shibukai anymore. Well, you know, we just don't know what. I think Fujitora is going to bail or focus on something else, because it doesn't seem like he's participating anymore in this fight. And he doesn't need to. He's got other things to deal with. Particularly the Straw Hats. So yeah, this was my chapter review of One Piece. It was a really good chapter, very good pacing, but maybe I'm saying that because I'm comparing it to the earlier scanlations. But I'm glad to see that a lot of things are getting done. We're moving forwards. I felt that in terms of the Usopp robbing section, I felt it was a bit slow there. I'm glad we're getting more focus. I don't know what's going on with Nami, Brook and Chopper, but you know, it's still early days. So until next week, guys, catch you later.